So what is a direct democracy? A direct democracy is a system of government in which members of the policy meet to discuss all policy decisions and then agree to abide by majority rule. In more simple terms, the citizens will vote on policies themselves rather than electing politicians to do it on their behalf. Because of this, direct democracy is sometimes referred to as a pure democracy. Direct democracy dates all the way back to the Athenian democracy of the 5th century BC. However, the idea resurfaced from the framers as they wanted to create a political system with the people at the center of the power rather than a monarchy. There are two primary forms of direct democracy, and those are participatory democracy and deliberative democracy. Participatory democracy is when citizens have the power to decide directly on policy, and politicians are responsible for implementing those policy decisions. Deliberative democracy prioritizes debate and thoughtful discussion, or deliberation, as the key element of decision making. The idea is to engage in a meaningful exchange of ideas and arguments. There are also three mechanisms of direct democracy that originate with the people and allow them to directly influence government actions. The first is initiative. Initiative is a process that allows citizens to propose legislation or constitutional amendments through gathering signatures on a petition. This empowers voters to take direct action and influence government policy. The second is a referendum. There are two kinds of referenda, obligatory and optional. In many areas, certain proposals must be put on the ballot for public approval. For example, in the United States, amendments to state constitutions must be put before the voters for approval. Under the optional referendum, a specified number of voters may, by petition, demand a popular vote on a law passed by the legislator. The last is recall. This is a procedure used mostly by the United States in which voters can remove an elected official from office before the end of their term through a special election.
In a direct democracy, people vote directly on big decisions, laws, or policies instead of choosing leaders to make these choices for them. This is different from a representative democracy, which is what most of us are used to, where we vote for leaders who let them make decisions on our behalf. In real life, direct democracy can be seen in things like citizens' initiatives and recalls. These let people have a direct say in their government. Direct democracy is the most open kind of government. Everything is done in the open, and people can see how laws and decisions are made. There are no secret deals, and the people are the ones making these choices. Since everyone gets to vote, the results show what most people want without politicians changing anything. When people feel like their voice matters, they're more likely to get involved and care about what's going on. Every vote matters the same. In some representative democracies, your vote can count more or less depending on where you live, but in a direct democracy, all votes are equal. Direct democracy really shows the idea that power belongs to the people. It lets regular people help decide how their society works, but it also has its problems. It's easier for a small town to vote on everything than it is for a whole country. If everyone had the vote on every decision, things can slow down and become messy. Most people are busy with work and family, and they can't be experts on everything. Voting all the time can lead people to stop caring or make choices without thinking enough. Direct democracy can also make it easier for smooth talkers to trick people with emotion speeches. This leads to bad decisions that don't help in the long run. The majority can also ignore the rights of smaller or weaker groups. With so many options, it can be hard to agree on anything, and constant changes can make the government unstable. Still, direct democracy gives people a real voice and makes the government more open. It can get more people involved and help laws reflect what people want. But it's also tough to use the big countries where decisions are complex. That's why most countries use a mix of direct and representative democracy. They use tools like referendums for big decisions and let elected officials handle the rest. Knowing the good and bad sides of direct democracy can help us understand what it takes to make any democracy work well.
As of today, there are no countries that function as a pure direct democracy. However, there are a couple of countries that utilize the mechanisms of a direct democracy. Switzerland is the country most known for using many mechanisms of a direct democracy. Switzerland has fully implemented initiative and referendum mechanisms. Since 1971, Swiss men and women over 18 years old have been invited to make binding decisions more than 450 times at the national level. Most importantly, in Switzerland, elected legislative or executive leaders are not allowed to put an issue to a public vote. This can only be done by the citizens themselves, either through the collection of signatures or in accordance with a legal requirement. Taiwan, Uruguay, and the United States are representative democracies that implement direct democracy mechanisms, however, not as heavily as Switzerland. While direct democracy may not be used as a type of government anymore, its mechanisms are implemented throughout countries to ensure that citizens have a voice in their government.